General. Also, new details revealed today in the case by the prosecutors alleging that the second of Kraft's two visits to the day spa in Jupiter, Florida, within a 24-hour period, took place the morning of the Patriots' AFC Championship game in Kansas City. So that afternoon, he made his way from Florida to Arrowhead Stadium to watch his team's overtime win over the Chiefs en route to their 6th Super Bowl championship. Our Michelle Steele files this report now from Jupiter.
Robert Kraft isn't just the most successful owner of the National Football League, he's among its most influential. That fact didn't make any difference to Palm Beach County State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg.
These are people from all walks of life, all socioeconomic statuses. So it is crazy to think that we're targeting one person when Mr. Kraft got caught up in the midst of a larger sting that netted hundreds of people through many different counties.
Kraft now faces 2 first-degree misdemeanor charges of soliciting prostitution at the Orchids of Asia Day Spa in Jupiter, Florida. Among the details released for the first time Monday, Kraft went to the day spa twice, on the afternoon of January 19 and then again only 17 hours later on the morning of January 20th, the day of the AFC Championship game. He engaged allegedly in sexual acts and paid cash both times. Prosecutors say charging Kraft, among others, will send a message amid a wide-ranging investigation into human trafficking and prostitution in South Florida.
There are a lot of good people out there who unwittingly are providing blood money for human trafficking. And in cases like this, it's important that we realize that you cannot get rid of the evil of human trafficking without doing something about the demand side. And so as far as previous charitable works, all that will be considered by the court ultimately. It's up to a judge if it does go to trial.
A court date has been set for April 24th. Kraft's attorneys have already received his summons, and the owner will not need to appear in court. A first-degree misdemeanor conviction, I should add, comes with a mandatory 100 hours of community service, a $5,000 fine, and a class on the dangers of human trafficking. It also carries up to a year in jail time, but that's unlikely for a first-time offender like Robert Kraft. In West Palm Beach, I'm Michelle Steele, ESPN.
And now ESPN legal analyst Ryan Smith joins us. That was Dave Ehrenberg, the state attorney in Florida, who we heard from during that piece. He said a lot, Ryan. What stood out to you the most?
A couple things. First, that it's now a first-degree misdemeanor, which, as Michelle just talked about, unlikely to see jail time, but it does have a maximum jail time of 1 year. And unlikely doesn't mean impossible. So when you talk about a situation like this, is that a possibility if Bob Kraft doesn't agree to a plea deal? The other thing that stood out is Ehrenberg talked a lot about how Bob Kraft will be treated the same as other people, but he is not the same.
Right.
No one else has had to issue a denial of doing anything illegal. And not only that, when you do that, you wonder what that means for a plea deal. Because what prosecutors will do here is they might actually, after the arraignment, go to these guys and say, do you want to plead? Plead guilty. We'll give you the community service and all the other stuff, but you won't see any jail time. You won't see a trial. Bob Kraft has a public image to protect, and he thinks he didn't do anything illegal despite the evidence police say is there. So will that affect how he approaches that? That remains to be seen.
The key word there is denial of something illegal.
Right.
And that, I think, is what might be parsed through when all of this plays out. Again, the court date, April 24th, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. We'll see if he shows up to that. I would guess and say probably not.
Probably not.
Right. Interestingly, the league decided to release a statement about its personal conduct policy today, saying, quote, it applies equally to everyone in the NFL. We will handle this allegation in the same way we would handle any issue under the policy. We're seeking a full understanding of the facts while ensuring that we do not interfere with an ongoing law enforcement investigation. We will take appropriate action as warranted based on the facts, end quote.
To baseball now, the big question is simple. We've been waiting for 4 months for an answer. Where will Bryce Harper go? Buster Olney reporting the Phillies remain confident they'll be able to sign the 26-year-old star after ownership met with him again over the weekend in his hometown of Las Vegas. The sides are nearing a crossroads in their negotiations. Meanwhile, the Dodgers have re-entered the sweepstakes after meeting with him on Sunday. LA's interested in a short-term deal, but Harper's given no indication that he's willing to bend on his desire for a long-term contract. And you talk about timing. Look at this. The Brinks truck showing up at the Dodgers spring training facility today, 4.5 hours away from Vegas, Bryce's home. Dodgers skipper Dave Roberts, part of the group that met with Harper yesterday.
You're always trying to improve in any way, whether it's off the field, on the field. So that's sort of where we're at.
How did the meeting go?
It was good. It was good. Just kind of trying to get to know each other. I'm not too hopeful or anything. It's just something that this is just talk. It's conversation. I think in the spirit of us as the Dodgers, vetting a certain process makes sense, and for those guys to do their due diligence as well.
Late February, just talking conversation. For the very latest Baseball Insider, Jeff Passan joining us live from Phillies camp in Clearwater. We're going to get to the Phillies in a moment, but how do the Dodgers fit into the Harper conversation right now?
It was just a stop and chat, Kevin. That's all. They stopped over in Las Vegas. They thought, hey, let's discuss a 5-6 year deal somewhere in that vicinity. And that's what the Dodgers want. They're looking at a short-term deal. They don't want to commit to the decade-plus long deal that Bryce Harper wants. And that's why at this point, even though they have as much money as they do, even though they have the incentive to get Bryce Harper, this doesn't seem like a match that's going to happen unless the Dodgers stretch beyond that short-term deal that they'd like.
All right, now Dodgers VP Andrew Friedman has never spent more than $80 million in free agency. Keep that in mind. And on paper, Jeff, it looks like the Phillies, they check the boxes starting with that long-term deal. What has been the biggest sticking point right now between Harper and Philly?
I think, Kevin, it's that the Phillies haven't stepped up money-wise to where Bryce Harper wants to be. We know Manny Machado got his $300 million from the San Diego Padres. Bryce Harper reportedly had an offer from the Washington Nationals before the season ended for $300 million plus. So the idea that he's going to settle for anything less at this point just does not fly. I think what the Dodgers meeting has done, what the Giants meeting has done, what the Nationals being in the background has done is force the Phillies to recognize if they want the player, they're going to have to pay up.
And when Middleton says we're going to spend stupid money, he wants this stupid money. They've met twice in the last 6 weeks. We'll see how this plays on. And later on SportsCenter, much more. Pedro Gomez will have reaction from the Dodgers side.
College hoops news regarding Duke star Zion Williamson. He will not play in tomorrow night's game at Virginia Tech. Coach Mike Krzyzewski says Zion, the projected #1 overall pick in this summer's NBA draft, is making progress but will miss his second game since suffering a grade 1 sprain of his right knee at the beginning of Duke's loss to North Carolina last week when that shoe basically disintegrated. Here's Coach K today.
He's just getting better. That's the status of playing hasn't changed. He's not going to play, but he's getting better. When you come back from that, there's like 4 steps that they go through as far as bringing a person along that we do with our sports science. And, he's going through that. And when he gets through all of them, then we'll see how he, where he's at. And there's no timetable there. We don't want to put the pressure of time on him. Let's just take care of it. We have a great resume this season, and we're hoping to continue to do that. And the main thing is for him to get healthy and for us to continue to improve.
So it's #3 Duke at #20 Virginia Tech tomorrow, 7 Eastern, right here on ESPN. It's the first of 4 regular season games left before the ACC tourney begins on March 12th. And then it's the big dance, the NCAA tournament following, with the first round opening up on March 21st.
Coming up in this hour, with playoff pressure mounting, how LeBron and the Lakers can find a sense of urgency tonight in Memphis. Plus, after 8 University of Mississippi men's basketball players kneel during the national anthem over the weekend. New reaction and details in tonight on their decision. And with the NFL Combine starting this week, new information out today surrounding Kyler Murray's size and could it affect his draft status. Stay tuned. SportsCenter continues next.
Once you start smoking, the consequences will find you.
Package for James Miser.